Welcome to another episode on the Global NEXUS Network. Tonight is going to be super interesting. If you're in Ghana, and if you go to social media, if you go to Twitter, YouTube, and other social media platform, what you would hear as at today, on the 19th of December, what you're going to hear is oral. What the president-elect call Operation Recover All Loot. I know you've heard a lot about oral as at today, varying explanations to what oral is about. Don't worry, you're going to get our reactions, and it's going to help you really understand and appreciate oral and what it seeks to achieve as per the intentions of the president-elect. If you follow Ghanaian politics very well, you would realize that what we are seeing is not entirely new. Over the years, we've had successive governments elect being in a hurry to address issues that dominated the previous election. So if the issue that dominated the previous election is corruption, you would surely going to see the president-elect being in a hurry, just like we are seeing, to address those issues, because they begin to have a sense of responsibility that the people who voted for me actually did it because they want me to respond to this. So it's not new, just like I said. And then the most recent one we can all point hands to is our current president Nana Akufo-Addo, who even went further to institute a whole office to take care of corruption. That is the office of the special prosecutor, in whom people are most disappointed, because I remember when Akufo-Addo was elected, the first message to his people and those who would eventually become his appointees was that if you know you are coming to government to make money, then to look elsewhere. These were the words of the then president-elect Nana Akufo-Addo. So when the special prosecutor office was instituted, people were very much confident that we are going to see leadership, we are going to see corruption and corrupt cases being addressed fairly to the satisfaction of Ghanaians. But it looked like we did not see that. But right now, the president-elect has also taken similar parts, and he's assuring Ghanaians of addressing issues of corruption in the previous government, and also what might occur in his, to the satisfaction of Ghanaians, which we are all going to live to see. So in the light of that, he has put up a team, and people are quick to call the team that the president-elect has put together oral. Meanwhile, oral is for the entire operation to recover lost public funds, or in some descriptions, stolen public funds. But people are quick to call the team that has been put together by the president-elect oral. So I think that the best description we can give to this team is an anti-corruption team or anti-corruption committee, instead of giving the team the Operation Recover All Loot. In some cases, it could also be called oral team anyway. But for now, the best description for the team or the committee would be anti-corruption team. So tonight we are going to look into the team, the members, and whether we can trust these members within the committee, and also as to whether they have the potential to embark on a witch hunt, or they genuinely would work in the interest of the Ghanaian people. So join us to the end of the video, and you're going to get reaction on all these. Trust me, it's going to be super interesting. The anti-corruption committee put together by the president-elect is actually a 5-member committee, and it is going to be chaired by Honorable Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. And to most people, I'm sure it's not surprising to see Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa chairing a committee of this nature, because personally he has been so much interested in government business, trying to force the government to do the right thing, to follow the constitution, and also ensure oversight responsibility on its appointees. He has been doing this over and over, so it is not surprising to see him being part of a committee of this nature. We also have Mr. Daniel Domelevo, former Auditor General, and where he's coming from, he being an Auditor General, I'm also sure he is also a good fit, and to a lot of people, it is not surprising to see him on a committee of this nature. We also have COP Nathaniel Kofi Boakye. He is also a renowned police officer in the country. He was the former regional commander, and he's known for conducting some very effective and efficient policing. So it is also not surprising to see him on a committee of this nature, as he is also appearing good fit for such a committee. There's also lawyer Martin Kwebu, one of the few lawyers who has been criticizing this government, ensuring that this government perform its oversight responsibility over its appointees on going or abiding by the constitution and working within the range of the constitution. He has been very vocal for the past few months. He has been on the government. We also have Mr. Raymond Archer, also an investigative journalist who is also into investigating issues of this nature. So you could see that all the five members on the committee are not people new to the issues regarding corruption and scandals. So we should expect them to do a very good job. But in tonight's video, what we are going to do is that we are actually going to look into this committee as to whether this committee could deliver what they've told the public they are going to do, as to whether we can trust them of doing a very good job. That is what we are going to do. So in the first place, we are going to look at the mandate of the committee, what is required, it's instituted to do. Then we will look at what is backing them, what is giving them the power to operate, and also we will look at the team composition, the composition of the team, and what leverage that the composition brings, and also as to whether the composition brings some weakness. We will look at all these things in the video. So before we move forward, let's look at the mandate of the team. What the mandate of the team is. So according to the chair, Honorable Samuel Okuzeto Ablakam, the team has a very simple mandate. Their role right now is to look for evidence of corruption, information that's good, that gives good leads, traces of corruption, put them together and give it to the appropriate institution to take it on. So in short and long, that is everything they are required to do. So if you look into it, you realize that they don't have prosecution power. So if you are thinking that there is a team that is supposed to arrest somebody and prosecute somebody, it's not the case. Their role as a committee, a 5-member committee, anti-corruption 5-member committee, is to look for evidence, look for traces of corruption. That is all. So where are the evidence? So if you actually look into their early submissions, they were calling on citizens, on the public, whoever has information that would lead somewhere, provide it. So it doesn't matter what you heard from whatever. Their mandate is to look for evidence of corruption, traces of corruption. That is all. There's nothing more, nothing less. So let's listen to the chair, Honorable Samuel Okuzeto Ablakam, in a Joy News interview, who he clearly stated what their mandate are.
And so the mandate of this committee is to gather the evidence, serve as a vehicle for all of those who want to blow the whistle, who want to present evidence to us, so that the litany of scandals and all of those plutocratic episodes that occurred, we can put together the evidence, make sure that everything is well prepared, so that when the government is inaugurated and you have an Attorney General appointed, the Attorney General, together with the Office of the Special Prosecutor, can hit the ground running. So our mandate is more of fact-finding, it's more of gathering the evidence, putting the evidence together, serving as a vehicle, if you like, for informants, for whistleblowers, and patriotic citizens who have evidence to share.
That is it from Honorable Samuel Okuzeto Ablakam as being the mandate of the committee His Excellency the President-elect has put together to help him prepare the grounds for oral. So I don't know if you've heard any other thing. That is it, just to look for evidence of corruption. So it could be a form of documents, video, contracts, and any other way bills, whatever being, as long as it points to or it leads to evidence of corruption, they are interested. So moving on, let's look at what power do they have, what backs them as institution, because if you know what backs them, that is when we will be able to be sure and we even get the right expectation. Because let's say we are in the house thinking that they are going to arrest and prosecute somebody, meanwhile they don't have such power. That makes you have wrong expectation. So let's look at what backs them. So according to the chair, they don't have any constitutional mandate. What is required of them is not backed by the constitution. They are not supposed to do anything under our constitution. So what they are doing is more of voluntary. So in another Joy News interview, the chair of the committee, Samuel Okuzeto Ablakam, made it clear that on the committee they are not backed by the constitution. They are not even taking allowance for what they are doing. So it's purely voluntary and purely working in the interest of the Ghanaian people. So that is what. So if you have any other expectation aside regular people put together in the committee, I'm only using regular because they are not being backed by the constitution. They don't have any prosecution power, or they don't have any arresting power, but that doesn't make them regular. But I just want you to have a very good picture of what a committee it is, and also so that you'll be able to manage your expectation. So they don't have prosecution power, they don't have the power to also arrest anybody, and also the constitution doesn't require them to provide anything. So if they have answers, perhaps maybe they made it to Ghanaians that they are going to do it. So maybe based on that, Ghanaians may demand answers. But if they is answerable to anybody, they are answerable to the president-elect, because he is the one that puts them together to find this information for him. But they have shown great interest. So let's also listen to Mr. Daniel Domolobo. I just want us to get a glimpse of their interest in doing this. Let's listen to Mr. Daniel Domolobo on to whether he accepts to be part or not. What his initial take on the invite extended to him to join the anti-corruption committee.
All these years, I've been at the forefront of fighting against corruption and on a crusade requesting that looted monies should be returned and people should be held accountable. So if the opportunity comes that we can do some preparatory work and I've been invited, I don't see why I should not be involved. So that is why I agreed to join the committee.
So let's also listen to lawyer Martin Gbegbu. He also previously has expressed the need for the government or whoever would take power to quickly look into issues of corruption and address it. Let's watch him.
We expect swift and effective prosecution of people who have looted the public purse.
So you could clearly see that they all have interest. So when I heard from the chair that it's actually a committee of voluntary service, I was still not doubting, because I knew that they were all people who are genuinely interested in issues of corruption. So we wouldn't need to incentivize them with money or any monetary benefit they are going to. So right now we know clearly what is their mandate and what they seek to achieve and what is backing them. And if the committee would be answerable as to whether they will be answerable to the constitution or to an individual. We've also made that thing clear. So what we want to look at now is the composition of the team. What strength that the team composition brings. It's based on this that the work will be done. And if we are able to ascertain that we have the right combination, or we have the right team combination, I think it raises the confidence level that these people could indeed do the work. If the team composition is also not strong enough, maybe there could be other side. But for now, let's look at the team composition. And after that, we'll also look at as to whether the competence nature of the individual members of the team could also bring some weakness, because sometimes when you put together all masters, it's likely that you're going to face some challenges. So these are the two things you're going to look into in the next part of the video. So let's first of all, let's look at the team composition. Then later we will look at their competence as to whether it will have some repercussion on effectiveness of the team. So we have Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. He is an MP and has served on numerous committee in Parliament. So he's somebody that is coming with intensive knowledge with government business. So he is one person that knows inside out what the Constitution says about what should be the appropriate way to conduct government business. So he knows the extent to which the Constitution allows each and everyone to perform their responsibility with regard to government business. So he's coming from this perspective. Government business, what the constitutions allow and what the constitution does not allow. And because he understands government business and what the processes involves, how to obtain funds, how to get funds approved, how to how to get parliament approval and other things. So he is coming with all this knowledge to the team. So he will be steering where to get government informations. Information that's allowed and disallowed on certain activities when it comes to government business, when it comes to government contracts, when it comes to project execution, and a whole lot of other things. So you can see that he is bringing in something very big. Then we also have Mr. Daniel Domelovo. He is a former Auditor General, and he being an auditor should even tell you what he also brings on board. He brings accountability and scrutiny. He joined the committee with the competence to examine the financial statements or financial records of government operations. He brings the competence to actually verify compliance with regulations, as to whether these and that government operations follows the approved regulations or the approved rules. He has that competence to do that. He also has the competence to actually determine an instance of waste and financial mismanagement. So you could see that he is also a very great complement to the team. So the next on the list is COP Nathaniel Kofi Boakye. Okay, so if I actually look at this member, in the first place, the committee, the chair of the committee has made it clear that their mandate, they don't have prosecution powers. They are not going to do any arrest. They are not going to prosecute anybody. And in their mandate for now is just evidence finding, information finding. So I don't get it very well why a retired police officer was included in this committee. Perhaps someone would also say that police also conducts a lot of investigation, and in that regard he comes on board with investigation competence. I'm not disregarding that, or I'm not saying that it is not going to play a role here. Certainly it's going to play a role, but I don't see it as powerful as other people, as in the competence he's bringing to the team. I don't see it as more relevant as compared to the ones we've dealt with earlier. But in all, once he's there, I'm sure he would also put in something. Yeah, he also put in something. But I'm not too sure the police way of investigation would work here in this structure. But anyway, he is also there. So the next on the list is lawyer Martin Pegu, who is also a private legal practitioner. So this is what I also expect lawyer Martin Pegu to bring to the committee. You could see that lawyer Martin Pegu is also coming with law knowledge with the law, and then if you disregard the law in making a case, if you don't take care, your opponent would also use the law to escape. So this is what I mean by saying this. I expect Martin Pegu to come in to close the loopholes in which people found liable within their evidence would pass to escape through legal means. You could see that usually when people are actually are caught or are found liable in issues of corruption, usually these people are people who can hire the best lawyers in town. And then if your case is not well thought through case, which has managed to close all the loopholes that might comes in through legal means, a good lawyer can find a nice way to help the person evade conviction. So we having a person like lawyer Martin Pegu on the committee, I expect him to bring on board or bring to the committee competence that will be used to close all the loopholes that would occur through legal processes as to when people are identified liable or people are identified with corruption. If a case is made by this committee or if an evidence is submitted to the appropriate committee with the competence lawyer Martin Pegu brings on board, I expect the case to be a solid case, a case that doesn't have so much loopholes with regard to the legal implication of that case. So in that regard, few months of deliberation, a verdict could be delivered. So that is what I expect Martin Pegu to bring on board, coming or accepting the invitation to join this committee, because we've seen this before. We've seen this over and over. Most of the times when people are actually found liable in issues of corruption, at the end of the day they're able to escape because they're able to hire the best lawyers in town, and then through legal means they're able to evade or escape conviction. So we having a lawyer on the team, I think, is also a very, very powerful addition, which is actually going to help close all the loopholes that may arise through legal means. And if a case is finally made or if an evidence is finally submitted by this committee, I personally expect that case or that evidence should be a solid evidence that, if not very few, zero loopholes. That means it's actually tackled or it's actually grabbed the bull by the horn. That's what I expect from Martin. So last on the list is Mr. Raymond Archer, who is also an investigative journalist. I believe that their mandate, which is to seek for evidence of corruption, it's all about information finding. And in cases like this, there are certain information that you will not find them on the surface. You need to dig deep down before you can get some information. And it's not every information when you dig you can find them. Sometimes you need to employ some undercover tactics and other investigative journalism. And so in that regard, I see Mr. Raymond Archer as also a powerful addition to the committee and a complementary competence that is coming to actually complement the team in that regard, finding information, because the chair of this committee has made it clear to us that their mandate is to find information, and we know that information is this nature. You need to employ diverse tactics, not just one way. Diverse tactics to be able to actually get all the information you need to actually make a solid case, which people would find very little loopholes to avoid conviction. So that is the team the president-elect His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has put together to prepare the grounds for ORAL, that is Operation Recover or Loot. And the analysis I've made with the team, and then my initial assessment of the team, it would be, let's say, 4.5 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5. That means it's actually a very, very solid team that Ghanaians could trust and expect big from them with regard to finding evidence of corruption or finding information about corruption. So a team of this nature would or should definitely be able to deliver on their mandate. So lastly, what we want to look at is to whether their competence nature, the competence nature of the individual members on the team could have some repercussions on the effectiveness of the team. That is the last part of this video that we want to look at. So if you actually look at the team composition as we just described, you could see that each and everyone is coming on board with distinctive or different competence and different knowledge, different skills, and I believe that is actually going to make their operation very effective, as we don't have so many people with similar or same competence which might collide, or maybe there could be collision of ideas. I'm not sure we're going to see too much of that, even though we can't be 100% sure that there wouldn't be anything like that. But once they're all coming from the distinctive background and they're all bringing on board different set of competence and knowledge, I believe that it's actually going to make their work very effective. And secondly, you could also see that if you look at the members of this committee, most of them are very experienced people with issues of corruption. They are all into one or the other into issues of corruption, either investigating, covering a story, or even sitting or defending a client. So, and also with the chair having a lot of experience in how committees work, I don't expect much disturbance or much repercussions from their competence nature. So I expect a smooth process by the experience and also their distinctive competence coming into this committee. Yeah, so in all, I would say that the president-elect actually have a strong team, a very solid team that Ghanaians should have no doubt in trusting that a team of this composition can deliver. And earlier on I also touched on their vested individual interests. The chair has actually made it clear to the Ghanaian public that his team or the committee he's chairing has no form of compensation. So that should tell you that there's no monetary interest or compensation that is going to go for. They're not even taking fuel, which is very common with committees in Ghana. Nothing at all, they will take fuel to attend meetings, but the chair has made it clear that they are not even taking fuel, not to talk about certain allowances or meeting allowances. So she tell you that indeed if their meeting is solely voluntary and per their individual competence forming the team, Ghanaians should have no doubt in having believing that this team can deliver. So that is it. That is our reactions on His Excellency the President-elect anti-corruption team assembled to prepare the grounds for the implementation of ORAL, Operation Recover All Looted. Thank you so much for being with us. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so, and don't forget to like our video if you think it's a good piece. If you think you like it, press the like button and also press the notification bell so that you will be among the first to receive our next video. In our next video, we are going to cover an interesting story. We are going to cover a story about Syria. Somebody asked me what is happening in Syria. There's this similarities between the fall of the Assad regime and also the fall of the Libyan regime, that is the Gaddafi regime. Someone who asked me that what is the similarities between Gaddafi and the Assad regime. That is when you have to join us in our next episode. We are going to give you the similarities and what diplomatic proceedings has been put in place to prevent the world seeing another divided country, like we saw when the Gaddafi regime fell in 2011. Join us in our next video, but don't forget to subscribe to Global NEXUS Network and press the notification bell so that when that video is uploaded, you'll be among the first to receive the video. That video is actually going to be very informative. You can't afford to miss that video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being with us. This is Global NEXUS Network, and that is it for this episode.